Hello, I'm Hal Ruth, and I'm the President and Chief Strategist with Equalizer 9. We are a consulting firm dedicated to the architectural, engineering, and commercial construction field. And today is your Equalizer 9 tip of the week. Today what we're going to be talking about is client data mining. And client data mining is where winning really begins. And what do I mean by client data mining? Well, client data mining is where we extract information from our clients or our potential clients, our pursuits that we're trying to win, to get the information we need in order to formalize a win strategy and to formalize win messaging. So what we're trying to find out is what are the client's buying points, what are their decision drivers, what are their motivational factors, what are their pain points and pet peeves. So those are the kind of things we're trying to find out with this client data mining. But first of all, let me tell you that although I specialize in the architectural, engineering, and construction field, this philosophy of client data mining, these techniques really work for any industry where your sales cycle is long, you're selling a service, and the sales dollar amounts are high. And so this can apply to a broad range of different industries. So let's jump right in. And let me tell you the story first. A few years ago, I was on the executive team of a national construction firm. One of my responsibilities was I supervised and managed and led the business developers for that firm all across the country. And what I started to notice when I first came on board is that first of all, we were losing at a rate that was well below the industry average. Industry average in the AEC world win rate is around 20%. We were under that, and we had been consistently under that before I came as well. So what I started to notice though is that the information that our business developers and our pursuit teams knew about the client and the project we were pursuing was very limited. In fact, all we knew was sort of the basic scope of the project and whatever information, buying criteria that the client put within their RFP. So we weren't getting to the real meat of what the client was looking for. So I started asking a lot of questions and found that we didn't really know how to ask the probing questions to really get the information we needed to formalize a strategy. We weren't data mining. We weren't client data mining. So I had to come up with a way to train people on how to do this. And so what I did is I created what I call the client data mining guide. And I know you can't read this, but I want to explain what's on this. And the client data mining guide was just a way to train people on how they should approach these client interfaces and to get the information. And by the way, let me just stop and tell you this. I believe if we do a good job of client data mining, the clients will tell us how to win their projects. I've seen it in my 22 years in this business. Clients will absolutely tell me how to win if I ask the right questions and then listen and then be very intentional about my strategy and my messaging thereafter. So let me tell you, I'm just going to go through what this looks like. And there are 2 pages. The first page is the primary questions that I'm going to ask. And I'm not going to get into each one of these questions, but I'm going to tell you the categories of questions that I'm going to come away with when I meet with a client. Number 1, I want to understand their decision process. And so I have a series of questions that are used to get to that point. You know, it asks things about who will be involved in the decision process. How will the decision be made as far as delivery method? It asks questions about will there be an RFP? Will there be a pricing component? So I want to know all those kind of things. Another category is success traits, to try to get to understand what it is that is the number 1 or top 5 things that they will define as making this project a success. And there's a series of questions used to probe and pull on that. The next one is people. I want to understand what they're looking for in a team, what they're looking for in a superintendent or a project manager or a pre-con professional or a design manager. I want to understand if they're looking for, and the questions that you'll see on here, I want to understand, are they looking for a certain level of experience in the industry, Or are they looking for a certain level of experience on this type of project? Or are they looking for some experience in one critical element of the project that is very scary to them, and they're looking to find that expert? So I have questions around that. I have questions around pet peeves, looking back on past construction projects or design projects. What went wrong? What do you hate? What just annoys you? So I get into that. And then I get into fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And fear, uncertainty, and doubt I call FUD. This is where I'm trying to find out what just absolutely scares them to death. And I'll ask a question around when you're laying in your bed at night, staring at the ceiling, 2 a.m., and can't sleep. What is that you're worrying about? I want to know what that is. So it's designed to get to that. I also want to know who the competition is. And so there's questions around trying to find out who we're competing against, who they like, who has worked well for them in the past, who hasn't, and why. And so I'll get to those. But inevitably, what will happen is when I start asking these questions, the client will give me cop-out answers. And cop-out answers, you've all seen them, is when you start asking questions, a client will say, if you're in the AEC industry, they'll say, well, the most important things are that you be on time, be on schedule, that you be under budget, and that you have good quality, and I want experienced people on the team. And so that's the answers you get. Now, I don't think most clients give you these cop-out answers because they're trying to get you out of the room. In fact, what I really think is sometimes they have trouble articulating what is really important to them themselves. And so it's our job to probe and get to the root of what they mean when they say those things. So what I do is I ask questions specifically around their cop-out answers. When they say schedule, I have the next page, which are my drill down questions. I want to understand what they mean by that. So an example I will drill down on is, do you have a specific opening date you're looking for? That's a drill down question. Do you have liquidated damages from a tenant that's part of the building? I want to understand that. Is the real date the end date that you tell me, or do you need to be in it 60 days, 90 days before that for FF&E move in, for training of staff? I want to understand that. Or is the real reason you say schedule because you've been burnt in the past? I had one client, when I started asking around schedule questions, he said the last 3 to 4 projects that I did, all of them were late. And he just was sick and tired of it. He was looking for someone who could just figure out how to be on time. And so I learned that through the drill down, which is very helpful in how I'm going to message to him. So anyway, I have drill down questions that get to what they mean by experienced people, get to what they mean by budget and being under budget. That can mean so many different things, and so I get to the root of that. Quality questions, I have about 5 questions, actually 6, around what they really mean by quality. Like, do they mean aesthetic quality? Do they mean punch management? Do they mean bad warranty experience? Do they mean life cycle? And so durability and maintenance. So I'm going to get to the answers on those questions. And then everything I'm going to follow up with tell me more and give me specifics. So once we started training our people on how to do this, our win rate shot straight up. In fact, in 2 years, it went from below industry average at around 19 to up in the high 40s within 2 years. And I am convinced it has a lot to do with the fact that we were doing good client data mining. Now, one question you might ask is, I don't think clients really want me to ask all these questions to them. I'm going to be annoying them. In 22 years of doing this myself, I never had a client to ever give me trouble or to be resistant on answering these questions. And the reason is simple. They need to buy the design services or the construction services. They have to buy. And so they're looking for a partner who can solve their problems. And if we're asking these questions, we are showing them that we are trying to help them. We are trying to help them solve their problems, and we're trying to serve them. And so I think clients love it. So, and by the way, we're not saying take this list and sit down with the client. I actually had a business developer, took me very literal, and took the list, sat down with the client and said, oh yeah, I got this filled out. Me and the client sat down and filled it out. not what I mean. What I mean is you use this as a guide to train you. Maybe you read over it before you go out and meet with a client to remind you of things you're trying to find out about. And then you learn to make this conversational so that it doesn't look like you're going through a checklist. But anyway, client data mining is where winning really begins. So if you would like to respond to what I've talked about today or have any thoughts on your own, I'd love to hear from you. Email is hal@equalizer9.com. Also email me if you would like to be on my mailing list for the Equalizer 9 tips of the week. Sure appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a great day.